Mr. Luckmeyer for the purpose of introducing our next witness.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Mr. Rosellini is the President and CEO of MicroTransponder in Dallas, Texas. MicroTransponder is a privately held medical device company. The company is developing a wireless neurostimulation system for the treatment of chronic pain. Mr. Rosellini is here to testify on behalf of the Advanced Medical Technology Association. Advanced Med advocates for a legal, regulatory, and economic environment that advances global health care. Welcome, Mr. Rosellini.
Good afternoon. I'm honored to appear before the Small Business Committee to share an example of how the SBIR program has made it possible for MicroTransponder to not only develop treatments for chronic pain, but a variety of other neurological disorders, including tinnitus, traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, autism, and motor disorders. Taken together, these conditions affect over 50 million people in the U.S. and represent an economic burden of over $100 billion annually. Utilizing SBIR funding, in the last 2 weeks, Drs. Michael Kilgard and Navzer Engineer have recently collected preliminary data that suggests our devices may soon be able to reverse the cause of a neurological disease. As a neuroscientist, every time I read that, I get goosebumps. This disease severely affects 12 million people in the United States, 500,000 veterans, 93,000 of whom have recently returned from Iraq. This disease is tinnitus. Tinnitus is a debilitating, constant ringing sensation that originates in the brain itself. Tinnitus is caused by hearing loss, often from trauma related to explosions. The VA alone is projected to spend $1 billion annually in 2011 in tinnitus disability compensation. We expect to move our promising treatment for tinnitus into clinical testing in humans within 2 years. We treat tinnitus by implanting a small device near a nerve in the side of the neck. The device emits small electric pulses near the nerve, which sends a signal up to the brain to produce chemicals that allow the brain to reprogram itself. When a tinnitus patient receives this device therapy while listening to a series of auditory tones, the brain is able to reprogram and eliminate the painful ringing sensation of tinnitus. If successful in humans, our technology will be the first time a neurological disease has been reversed using medical devices. It's a very exciting time for us at MicroTransponder, and it would not have been possible without the SBIR program. MicroTransponder Incorporated was formed to commercialize Dr. Lawrence Collar's innovations related to a wireless medical device which interfaces with the nervous system. As a former Army medic, Dr. Collar had been inspired to use the wireless devices to communicate with robotic prosthetic limbs to replace lost limbs in combat. Now, I have an MBA, JD, Masters of Neuroscience, Masters of Accounting, Masters of Computational Biology, Masters of Regulatory Science, and an entrepreneurial track record in the medical field. But apparently raising funds for robotic prosthetic limbs and devices that can reprogram the brain is not a straight step to profitability. Instead, we turned to the SBIR program. In 2007, we received our first Phase 1 grant award from Joseph Pancrazio, Program Director of the Extramural Research Program at NIH NINDS, to convert this technology into a clinical product. This award allowed us to obtain important data to show that we could power our devices wirelessly. With this feasibility established, we began to search for ways to use this technology to deliver electricity to peripheral nerves to treat chronic pain. At roughly the same time, a colleague and friend of Dr. Collar, Dr. Kilgard, told me about his idea to use the device to stimulate nerves to selectively alter brain function in a predictable and potentially therapeutic manner. MicroTransponder and UTD submitted a research plan to the SBIR program, and with these funds, Dr. Kilgard's team has turned this idea into a potentially groundbreaking new therapy for tinnitus. We expect this therapy to be able to be used for motor deficit, post-traumatic stress, autism, and a variety of other neurological conditions. These SBIR grants serve a number of important roles in getting high-risk, high-reward companies off the ground. First, they enable the companies to inexpensively test the feasibility of their technology. Second, when a company is able to show feasibility and garner additional funds, this independent scientific validation of the company's approach opens the door for venture capital and other private fundraising. After receiving our first funds from the NIH, we were able to obtain additional funds from the Texas Emerging Technology Fund. This fund awarded us a $1.4 million award. The combined funding has allowed us to obtain proof of principle laboratory data and finalize our prototype device. We are now preparing to enter clinical trials at the end of this year for treating chronic pain, as well as possibly reversing tinnitus. This progress could have never been made without SBIR funding. Without the SBIR program, many high-risk, high-reward technologies would not have been developed, and the public would have fewer new treatments for serious illnesses. Chairwoman Velasquez and Ranking Member Graves, I thank you for your leadership in the reauthorization of the program and giving the SBA a very hard time about their lack of a commitment in this area. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you how the SBIR program has been instrumental in allowing MicroTransponder to move forward in developing treatments and cures for a large number of unmet needs. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.